Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, some pretty big news kind of popped out over here, and it has nothing to do with Trump, surprisingly. Now, I'm going to keep that on the low because, oh my good lord, I looked on social media everywhere, and that was plastered on pretty much every website, Twitter, Reddit, everything. So, this is my mention of it because some people asked me what I thought. So, moving on from that one, that's crazy. So, when it comes to this, we actually had another big PlayStation drama that actually happened. So, as you guys probably know, there was a really big, plagiarism, call-out going on when it came to one of the more popular games ongoing right this second, called the First Descendant. Now, this game is kind of relatively cool. I like the vibe of it. I played a few hours of it, and it kind of has a mixture of, Destiny 2 and Warframe. And as you guys probably know, Destiny 2 is owned by Sony/PlayStation. And, well, things got a little bit more on the feistier side. So I'm going to give you guys the quick recap on what happened, and as well, the now ongoing and somewhat admittance, kind of the community vibe out for, and as well, kind of the more negative reception coming from the game itself, from copying, from AI, from just overall monetization of the game, long-term gameplay, etc. And things are getting a little bit more on the dicey side. So if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below, and I appreciate y'all for watching. So first and foremost, if you guys missed it, there was a really big drama that was floating around a few days ago. Now, we made a video on it. It actually went relatively well. So if you guys are subscribed from that, thank you, welcome. But basically over here, the First Descendant, like I said, is a very, more so skewed towards Warframe. It's very you find a certain area, you get and unlock certain characters or weapons, and then you upgrade and level up the characters as you're going throughout the game. More so of a progression system based on Warframe. But it still has a lot of similar sci-fi, Destiny vibes. And this was a big story. Because the First Descendant was a the more popular Nexon-based game. If you guys know, though, Nexon has a very negative stigma. A lot of people don't like Nexon. A lot of people don't like the idea of the microtransactions push into Nexon. And of course, as well, there's been some murmurs of using AI, which a lot of artists and creative folks are not a big fan of. Now, when it comes to this, though, the intriguing thing is that we actually did have their official response. So really quickly, I'll show you guys on the stuff in case you guys missed the prior video. But basically for this one, this is a good example. They were showing a lot of things that are very similar and somewhat inspired. So if you look through, you have I showed this picture before if you guys remember it, but you have a hand with elements coming out. You have lightning bolt with lightning bolts next to it. You guys can kind of see it's very similar on both ends. And this originally came from Destiny 2. And obviously, Destiny's kind of been well known for its UI, how it's a unique take, futuristic, and I've always really enjoyed the stylisticness of Destiny. But you kind of go look through a lot of these things. Many of them are very similar, maybe not one-to-one, but enough to be I looked at your homework, I copied and changed a few things up there, and anyone who looks at it closely could be yeah, that's pretty similar. Good examples these look very similar. I mean, it's just the general vibe. Get the gist of it, not the one-to-one, but the gist of someone being here's 50 pictures, I want this. And they're okay, I'll change it up a little bit. Do a few circles, do a few angles, whatever. So anyway, this was kind of the big drama. And I think a lot of people were very negative on it because the First Descendant has a little bit of a bad stigma. A lot of microtransactions, and it is a carbon copy of quite a few dynamic parts of Warframe and Destiny and a few other games, but mostly those two. So anyway, we've actually now had a response that came out in regards to the First Descendant, saying that Nexon actually has responded to it too as well. Saying that basically Nexon reached out in regards to all these allegations and callouts and people showing all these pictures and the copy and all that, stating, and almost somewhat, I would say pretty much confirming due to their response, I'll kind of ramble into that a little bit, saying that they basically did go and copy the Destiny icons, and that at this point they're actually going to be changing the icons as well. Now this is intriguing because, let me just kind of break some things down for you. At the end of the day, it's not the biggest deal. If you like the First Descendant and you like the game, you like the flow, more power to you. Enjoy it. No one's going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you. I like the game. I think it's cool. But I don't like copying. I don't like cheating. I don't like AI. I don't like all this type of stuff utilized in the creative end. Because someone had to go make it, and if you're copying from the artist, whether from AI or just from using as the let me go and look at your homework for 2 seconds, I'm not going to copy everything vibe, it kind of ruins the flow. I don't want to have 10 different games utilizing the same exact thing, copy paste with a small tweak, not a vibe. Anyway, the First Descendant did respond, saying as a looter shooter game was developed with a deep affection and respect for other games in the genre. Destiny 2, being a globally renowned looter shooter game that PlayStation now owns, is also personally admired and respected by the team, and it has served as an inspiration during the development process. Nice, but weird wording. We have taken the concerns raised seriously. So from the community, from things on my YouTube video, I probably didn't have much in it, but my video did get like 10,000 views. That's not a lot. That's probably, I'm sure all this other stuff gets a lot more. But when it kind of comes and gets that spark, and other people get wind of it, which is why sometimes I bring that up, is that they kind of realize, hey, this is not just an isolated thing. Other people agree on it. Other people notice this. Other people make comment on it. And of course, if you have 50 other people doing the same type of thing, it kind of makes it a little bit more of a global phenomenon. Saying we have taken the concerns raised seriously and have decided to make adjustments to ensure that the imagery that may appear similar clearly reflects the unique identity of our game. We will continue to improve the game for fans of the looter shooter genre. Now, I'm going to break this down a little bit, at least in my own thoughts. So this is where it gets like that, like hot take, okay? I do think that they pretty much copied. Like, it's not a big deal, so I'm not like, this game is horrible, don't play it, uninstall it. Like, you like the game, I like the game, I thought it was a good vibe, like, I got nothing against it. But I will have to say, like, I'm allowed to go, and in my opinion, it really does look very, very, very copied. Like, there is a lot of quote-unquote inspiration in these icons. And that's not the end of the world. But it could be. Like, we don't necessarily know what happens on, like, trademark law and, like, copyright law. And as you guys probably know, it's a little bit stronger when you're in the same genre. If you're running a gas station and you have an icon that's, say, a shell, and then you're running in, like, a actual fish lab, I don't know, like, it's just like SeaWorld, and you also have shells there. In theory, and due to law, you're not in the same, like, jurisdiction. You're not in the same business. So it doesn't matter. Like, a gas station, like, Shell versus, like, SeaWorld. It's different enough that it doesn't really matter if it looks similar or a similar branding or naming. Now, obviously, it's the one-to-one copy are very similar. They could maybe chase it for protecting copyright. But traditionally, like, if it's not the same, like, genre or close-knitted, it's usually kind of somewhat fine. There's a lot of, like, asterisks towards this. But when it comes to the same exact genre, as they even mentioned to on their tweet response, basically talking about how the fact that it is the, we appreciate this for the looter shooter genre. They are in the same genre of game. And they've also, and this is kind of a bad call, they've also admitted that they did take inspiration from it during the development process. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean 100% they copied it, or 100% it was intentional, or all of that. Like, that is not what I'm saying. But in terms of both the legal sense, as well as also the general, this might be, like, good for the morals. Like, you want to go and make a statement to the gamers who might play your game, which is probably smart, because obviously sometimes games are flavor of the month, or you want to have a good first impression, because we have been seeing a little bit of, like, flack against it. Like, we've seen some of the actual, like, reviews. Like, here's a 6.0 review. Or if you look on Steam, Steam reviews are also mixed. So you don't want to have, like, these overall meh vibes. Like, I think the game's cool. I liked it. But like, it's kind of rough. Like, they have issues with performance issues. They had issues with monetizations. Some of the game actually was somewhat pay to win, pay to progress type style, depending on how you want to word it. So typically gamers don't like that. I don't like that. But if you also have that mixed with other things too, on top of, let's say, Destiny, there's probably a lot of Destiny crossover, because it's a similar genre, as they've even mentioned in their own tweet. And of course, it was a free-to-play game. And I even saw Destiny streamers I know that were playing the game, enjoying the game, and grinding the game itself. Like, I think it was a good vibe. And, yeah, you don't want to go and basically bite the hand that feeds you, and sometimes the community and the overall vibe of the community is what matters a lot for your game. And traditionally, Sony is probably not happy with this. We don't know necessarily if there was any, like, cease and desist sent out or legal documentation, although, of course, maybe there was. Like, Bungie's been very on the sue happy, and, of course, has the legal team behind Sony behind it, which adds a lot more extra bark to their bite. And, yeah, like, if you have, like, a mid-tier game, which I liked it. Like, I'm not going to hate it. I actually liked it. But if you have a negative stigma already on, like, monetization or Nexon that has a bad, like, they've been sued for basically taking advantage of, like, consumers and raising gacha prices and all that. If you have that ongoing, and you have a negative sentiment on top of, like, copying stuff or AI rumors and everything else, I give them respect for owning up to it, but legally wise, this big separation on that might be a bad call. So either way, they are going to fix it, which is good. Like, we round this up to a good event. We like this. We're happy with this. There was a small issue. They addressed it, and they're moving on, and I think that's a win. Although I can kind of see why PlayStation would be very upset, and have been upset, and why people call it out, and people in the Destiny community were also very skeptical of this. So always be careful what games you go and buy, but if you like it, so far this game I think is still passing my vibe check. A few things I don't like and I would change, but overall, don't hate it. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below, and I appreciate y'all for watching in the first place.